Hi, my name is Victor and today I'm going to show you how to model curved sloped walls in Revit. And I'm going to show you several ways to do that, and I'm going to talk about the differences, like the advantages and disadvantages for each of them. So I'm pretty much talking about these. And let me start by deleting all of these now. Okay, so as you know, in Revit you can edit the profile of a wall, but you cannot edit the profile of a curved wall. So when you press WA, this is the shortcut for wall by default, and you can draw arcs with the wall tool. And if you go to 3D, you can see you can edit the profile of the straight wall. You can pretty much draw anything, and this is it. I'm going to delete that one. But what do we do with the curved wall? We can't edit the profile, we can attach the wall. So the first way actually to do a curved sloped wall is to attach it to something. And in Revit we can attach a wall to a level, floor, roof, and a reference plane. So in this case I'm just going to draw a reference plane. But where should I draw this? Okay, so first I'm going to use this elevation view, and I'm going to create a reference plane. This is going to be my draw plane, like this. And it's always good to name your planes, because if a plane has a name, we can select it, as you're going to see in a minute. So I'm going to call that one draw plane, or drawing plane, something. And now I go to the elevation view, and actually here I've made this before, but I'm going to just create a reference plane. And name it sloped plane. And I'm going to select the wall and attach it. And because this is a plane, it's actually infinite, so it can be like this. And the wall is still going to be attached to that plane. And the cool thing in this approach is that we can just move this and the wall is going to adjust. Let's look at it in 3D. Since it's cut, this is a straight line here, nice straight line. And this is the Revit system wall, so it has the layered structure. It can host all kinds of inserts like windows, doors, openings, and also it can host a railing. Since Revit, I believe 2017, we can host railings on roofs and walls. And I'm going to make a railing here, like this. Click on pick new host and pick the wall. So it's going to be on top of it. Okay, this is the first way to create a sloped curved wall. Another way, let me go to a floor plan. I'm actually not going to use these. And I'm going to draw another wall, so I press WA on my keyboard for wall. Just some curved wall. As you might have seen, when I draw the wall, I can only draw with curved walls with arcs with the drawing tool. No splines, no ellipses, just arcs and circles, which is the same. So now what I'm going to do, and this is what I'm going to need this plane for. I'm going to go to the south elevation. I'm just going to flip the wall so I see the pattern. And now I'm going to component model in place. I'm going to just model a generic model. And I'm going to call it wall cut. That's always a good practice to name everything. You should name it so it's clear what it is. And I'm going to select an extrusion for this example, although you can use all of the modeling tools, of course. It's going to be a void form, but I always first make it solid and then select in the properties that I want to be a void. And here we are asked to select the work plane, and we can see the one that we created, the drawing plane. But if it was not named, it wouldn't appear here. So now I'm drawing in that plane, and I'm going to just make a rectangle and modify it a little bit. I'm going to go to 3D, move it like this, stretch it like this, make it a void. And now this is important. While I'm still modeling, I'm going to click on cut in modify, select the void, select the wall, and then I'm going to click on finish model. So this is exactly the same nice clean cut as that one, and it has all the other properties, of course. We can place windows, doors, and railings. If I'm going to create a railing. I try to press on my shortcuts, but I haven't set up a shortcut for railing. And I'm going to select the center line, pick new host, go to 3D. So now if we go to the elevation, we can see that with this approach we don't have that versatility for the height of the wall as we do with attaching it to a sloped plane, but actually we have other advantages. Now if we want to select the cutting family, it's over here, just a single line, but we can go and select it. We can actually move it, but this is just like moving family, because the plane we can move it indefinitely. It could become really high, but since here the wall is not attached, if we move it, it's actually going to create something else. And this is becoming interesting now, because this is the main advantage of this approach. We can actually not only create sloped curved walls, we can create any kinds of cuts. So if I edit this extrusion, it's still a simple extrusion, it could be anything, and I just draw an arc here like this, I click OK. There's a problem with the baluster, and of course this is extreme, but still. This is the main advantage of this approach with the cuts. We can do some crazy stuff. And the railing is hosted. We have the layered structure of the wall. Everything is good. Another approach would be, and this is probably when we think of that kind of wall, like a curved sloped wall, this is probably the most intuitive approach, is to make a mass family. And I'm going to create a mass, in place mass. Revit has enabled the show mass mode, so the newly created mass will be visible. And here you can see that I've actually created some masses. That one, for example, if we go to 3D, you can see I have a mass here. I'm actually going to cancel it. I'm going to leave that one, but I'm going to edit that one. So here you can see we have our geometry, but first I want to make clear that if this is what we start with, this is a simple extrusion, how to make it? We go to a floor plan, we just draw with lines in the mass environment. Can delete this, I don't need it. Delete this and draw an arc here. And select everything, create form. So we have a simple extrusion. And if we go to the elevation and try to do the same approach, like let me set the elevation, drawing plane, draw on work plane, like this. If we make exactly the same thing, it's not going to work. And I'm going to show you what's happening. Now, if I exited the mass. If I select this and click create form, push it here, make it a void. It's going to cut here and it looks okay, it looks the same as this one. But then when we go to wall by face, it's not created correctly. And this is a problem I've seen many times with surfaces that are cut in Revit and in Dynamo as well. This is a known problem, so I believe it's some kind of a bug. But what can we do? I'm going to delete that one. I'm going to edit the mass, and I'm going to delete the voids. What can we do? We can select that edge here. We can move it down. And now this is a little bit different as geometry, because here we have this double curve. It's not a straight curve. It's not a cut. But if this is what we want, we can use wall by face. And actually, the advantage of using wall by face like this is that you can put a wall on face made of a spline. So we are not constricted by the drawing tools of walls where we only have arcs. In the massing environment, we can delete those and edit this mass here. We can draw with ellipses. I'm not sure if it's going to work with an ellipse actually, but let's try. We can draw ellipses, spines, and let's try to do this. Now this is interesting. Sloped ellipse. Wall by face. Yeah, it works actually. We can also put a wall. No, we can't put a wall there, but still, let me turn off the masses. This is the advantage of this approach, that we're not limited to arcs. However, this is not going to be able to host a railing on top, but otherwise windows and doors are good. What about the railings? It just doesn't work. And also when we create a railing here and click the snap, we can't not really snap to a center line, because this wall is not working that way. It's hosted. Of course we can use an offset of 200, but when we click on pick new host, we cannot pick that wall. We can pick that one, but not that one. So we can't host a railing on that wall. Okay, another approach is to actually just model the wall in place. So that means make a component, model in place, select the walls category, name it wall something, and what can we do here? We can do we can use many different approaches, but I'm going to use a swept blend for that one. I'm going to draw a path. Here we can also draw with splines and partial ellipses. So we kind of have this versatility, but for the first example I'm going to use an arc, circular arc, like this. Okay. Then select profile 1, edit profile. I'm going to do this in 3D. So you can see this is the highlight. And I'm going to draw a small rectangle. Click on OK, select profile 2, edit profile. And I'm going to create a bigger rectangle. And you can see that actually like this we can model something different. It's not only sloped and curved, but it has a different thickness. So what do we lose here? Here we lose the layer structure of the wall. If you want to have the layers, we should probably model them individually. And what else do we lose? We cannot host a railing on top of this wall, but otherwise windows, as you can see, windows and doors are good. And that way actually we can create any kind of geometry and call it a wall. Like all the crazy things that you can think of. Let me see if I can quickly come up with an example of something crazy. Okay, walls, swept blend, sketch path. I'm going to use a spline because splines are cool. Like this. Profile 1, edit profile, 3D. Should I do a rectangle or should I do something else? I'm going to do something else this time because I decided to be crazy. So let it be slanted, like 70 degrees slanted. Weird wall. Of course, if I make this too extreme, it's not going to work. So okay, select profile 2, edit profile. Use a different angle, let's say something like this. Door. And we have the craziest wall ever. And we can let's say we want to create something more like I don't know, I'm going to pick pattern, create a void sweep here, like okay, edit profile, just a circle like this. Okay, anyway, whatever, I'm actually not going to make it void, I'm going to join this geometry. Good. Something like this, and it will still host Windows, WM for window, DR for door, let's put another window here. Cannot cut instances out of wall. I'm going to explain you this. These windows are wall based, so they expect pretty much straight walls, and sometimes they fail. And when you have crazy walls, it's better to use face based families for windows. There's a better chance that they work, but still you can see that the regular windows are doing pretty good here as well. And as you can see, they are vertical, although this part of the wall is not. The windows are vertical. If you are using face-based elements, they're going to be aligned to the face, and to the face is normal. Okay, guys and girls. So these are the different ways to create sloped curved walls and something more. If you need this to model like medieval castles or something. And if you liked the video, please hit the like button, thumbs up. If you didn't like it, hit thumbs down. I appreciate any feedback, comments, subscriptions, everything. Just give me some feedback so I know what I'm doing. And also I would like to show you that I've recently made a Revit tips and tricks, 27 tips and tricks, and you can find this on my website. And actually, if you subscribe from my website, you're going to get the first 10 tips for free. So it's just It's basically the first 10 tips of the book, so you get the contents where you can see all the tips. And this book is based on versions of Revit prior to 2019. And I noticed that 2 or 3 tips have become obsolete in 2019, but all the other things, all the other tips and tricks are still valid, even for the newest version of Revit. And of course, if you're using versions prior to 2019, that says Revit 2018, 2017, the tips, the images in the book are based on these versions of Revit, pretty much mostly 2018 version 2. Thank you for watching and have a nice day. Bye bye.